Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I am Anil from Marketplace Product Team, and I will be joined later by Dan, who is one of the founders of Atlas Advantage. And together we are really excited to talk about an important topic about Atlassian Marketplace, which is app licensing models. Our goal is to help you understand the new licensing models so that you can pick the right model to unlock your marketplace apps growth and also address evolving customers' needs. So here's a quick look at our agenda. We will start by introducing the concept of licensing models, followed by an overview of why now is the right time to make changes. And then we will deep dive into the new licensing models and explore its implications for your business and for your customers. Finally, we will open the floor for questions and feedback. Let's get started. So what is a licensing model? Anyone here wants to take a shot? Anyone? Cool. Yeah, please go ahead. Cool. Yes. Anyone else? Yeah.
Allow usage of an app.
Cool. Yeah. Yep. So it is the foundation of how software developers monetize their products. It determines which users can access and how much to pay for it. Today, Atlassian uses site-wise or site-based licensing and per-user pricing. These models have served us well, but as customers' need evolve, so must our approach. One important note for today's discussion, everything we are discussing today is applicable only to paid apps. Cool. Let's talk about why now is the right time for a change, but let me start with a bit of historical context. As most of you are aware, that Atlassian has long been a pioneer of land and expand strategy, traditionally focusing on gaining traction and then growing adoption within technical teams. But we don't want to be limited to just technical teams, and we are trying to expand to non-technical teams by focusing on wall-to-wall adoption and larger enterprises. This expansion will create opportunities for your apps to reach a broader set of previously unserved users. However, our current app licensing models can present challenges in supporting this growth for apps. And let me talk you through an example to illustrate this again. There are two types of expansion, user expansion and app expansion, that can happen in an organization with Atlassian product and apps. And today we have challenges with both. Let's go through it. In user expansion, when an organization thinks of adding a user to an Atlassian product, they also need to consider the cost impact of this action on all of the connected apps, right? This creates friction in expanding the user base of Atlassian products. In app expansion, as you can see, when an organization thinks about adopting a new app, they often face the cost of enabling it for all users, even if it is needed only for a fraction of users, right? This adds friction to the initial adoption of apps within the organization. This is how the future may look like, unlocking growth for both Atlassian product and the apps on it. The new licensing models will give flexibility to the apps where they can be used by a subset of users or all users and charged basis the number of users or usage. This creates an easier introduction for additional apps, which will also set the stage for frictionless expansion to those non-Atlassian product users based on customer needs. We are aiming to reach every team in an organization, and with these additional licensing models, marketplace apps can grow with us too. With that perspective in mind, let's talk about why now, right? I have already covered wall-to-wall expansion and customer flexibility, but there are two more critical pieces: supporting new types of apps and giving our partners more flexibility. Our marketplace must evolve to support emerging type of apps like AI-powered apps, which don't fit neatly into traditional licensing models which we have on marketplace. Today, these apps are often forced to go through paid via vendor route or are not even listed on it, creating unnecessary friction in both discovery and adoption. Lastly, partners have the flexibility to decide whether to adopt most of the new licensing models, allowing them to retain their existing approach if it continues to meet their needs. We are introducing 4 new licensing models. Each one is designed to remove friction, expand app adoption, and create new opportunities. Let's start with multi-instance licensing. As you can see, currently cloud enterprise customers pay for apps separately at each instance level. This can be cumbersome for enterprise customers as they manage billing across multiple instances. With multi-instance licensing, customers can simplify procurement by purchasing a single organization-level license covering multiple instances. This approach makes billing management easier and aligns with enterprise scale needs of easy expansion of user and or instances. For multi-instance licensing, there are few key points which I want you all to note. This will be applicable for both Forge and Connect apps, ensuring consistency across our ecosystem. Multi-instance licensing will be mandatory for all paid apps to ensure our cloud enterprise customers can seamlessly adopt any paid app. Multi-instance licensing pricing must be same or higher than the non-multi-instance licensing equivalent one to reflect its additional value. Finally, only cloud enterprise customers will have access to it. However, it's optional for them to adopt. Let's go through user-based licensing now. Today, customers must license apps for all users of the parent product, even when needed by a handful of users, limiting adoption flexibility. With user-based licensing, customers can license apps for only a subset of users, making adoption easier for specific users or teams and also giving them a sense of fair billing. For user-based licensing, there are few key points I want you to note. This will be supported only for Forge apps where our future investments are going to. But we will support all types of Forge apps, native, remote, or harmonized. And most importantly, adopting this model is optional for an app, letting partners choose what best fits their app and business strategy. Partners will have the freedom to adjust pricing as well. If an app adopts user-based licensing, all customers must adopt it. Next one is Jira JSM decoupled licensing. So as you can see, currently JSM apps are licensed for all Jira users, right? Regardless of whether they need the app or not. With this change, apps can be licensed for specifically for JSM agents, providing a very targeted adoption. Apps will have the ability to combine user-based licensing, which I talked about earlier, and Jira JSM decoupled licensing, which will allow customers to license the app for a subset of JSM agents. Except first point, which talks about this licensing model to be applicable only for Jira-based Forge apps, other points are similar as user-based licensing. The last model we are trying to cover today is usage-based pricing. Today, customers are limited to paying based on the number of users with no flexibility for usage-based models. In future, usage-based pricing will allow customers to pay based on app usage metrics such as actions, output, or consumption rather than user count. It will also protect partners from sudden usage spikes by allowing them to pass on the cost to the customer. In this example, as you can see, the app can be charged based on 500 users, or they can be charged based on, let's say, based on the number of messages, right? So we are still exploring this model's finer details, but these 4 key points to note are mostly similar as earlier, except the point about usage metric. To start with, we will allow partners to set pricing using one usage metric to reflect their app's value. This is to keep pricing simple for our customers. I just want to summarize what we have talked about. So act on multi-instance licensing now, as it is scheduled for partner release in this month, with customer GA scheduled in May of this year. Also start planning for upcoming licensing options to meet your and customers' evolving needs. Both user-based and Jira JSM decoupled licensing are scheduled to get released for customers in September this year, while partner release is scheduled for April and May of this year. We are targeting to release usage-based pricing by the end of this year for our customers. Lastly, in order to help you prepare for these changes, we have asked Dan to share his thoughts. He has been around since the first years of Atlassian and experienced the start of the marketplace. Over to you, Dan.
Thanks, Anil. Hi. Firstly to note, I don't work for Atlassian, nor do I represent them. My views are my own and that of my company. And for those that don't know me, I've been around for a while. I previously founded Adaptivist, and I built the first commercial app. I even created what the origins of the marketplace now are. I've gone from plugins V1 to OSGI and V2. I've moved into the cloud with Connect, and finally now into Forge. I've seen the entire journey over time, and now I'm working at Atlas Advantage with Peter, providing services to all Atlassian partners, helping them build their businesses so that I think I can understand the marketplace partner's perspective. I'd like to share that with you. First, why do you have customers? Given what we were just talking about, this might seem like an odd question, but marketplace partners, as businesses within the Atlassian ecosystem, is a really important point to first understand. Why do you have customers? Well, your customers have got pain points or frustrations, and you have a solution to that pain, right? Your customers choose your solution to solve that pain. Fundamentally, that is usually why most of you have customers. You might have heard of ideal customer profiles. They're basically profiles that describe exactly that. But for a fair number of apps, maybe people who've just put submissions into Codegeist, they were born out of a functional gap or a hypothetical need. You just built something and now it's selling. Great. But you can't really reason why. So this key principle might feel alien at first, but you might also find it hard to reach your customers who might be using your solution for reasons other than what you intuitively believe. However, it is possible and it is worth it, as that's what connects you to the reason behind why you have product market fit. When it comes to reaching your customers, it's worth noting that Atlassian's terms prevent them from sharing customer personal data with you, as frustrating as that is for us. However, there are a number of ways we can understand customer behavior and reach out to them. You can build a customer engagement panel, invite the customers who give you feedback through reviews and support. You can connect with solution partners who sell your apps, as they typically already have customer contacts. And you can signpost your panel in your documentation, marketplace listing and onboarding process. There's plenty of ways to access these customers without needing their email address. For most marketplace partners, your app is sold for a price. This price is associated with value that your customers derive from your solution. That value to your customers comes from understanding how you benefit them. For example, urgency. Is there a pressing need for the customer to resolve the pain? Is there a time constraint maybe that they're under? Maybe there's a regulatory change coming or an end of life timeline. Maybe it's just the end of the financial year cycle for some. Understanding the urgency and consequences of not acting in a timely manner should be feeding into your modeling. What choice does the customer have? If not for you and your solution, what are the customer's options for resolving the pain that they've got? And it's not just about your competitors. Maybe they could build their own solution. Maybe they could just continue as they are. Think about all the different options the customer has and why your solution is the best one for your ideal customers. And finally, what are the benefits? Are there upsides or side effects to your solution over other options? Think about productivity gains, reduced risk, improved collaboration, or clearer communication. There's all sorts of different ways that your solution can stand out from others. They don't have to be unique selling points, but it helps if they are. This understanding provides a context that you simplify into your value proposition. This underpins and constrains the worth to your customer, which can be expressed financially. As Anil showed earlier, the intent of all of this is growth. And there are some real opportunities that come with this. Firstly, we can work together with Atlassian to grow the pie by expanding our mutual reach within inside of an organization, unlocking teams that we don't currently have access to. Solution partners will be able to reach new areas under the system of work, unconstrained by the solution decisions made by previous use cases for their instances. Marketplace partners will be able to support those efforts with innovative solutions to sell those use cases more easily. We can expand within the existing pie by introducing apps not previously considered. Previously, your app had to be instantly useful to all users in order for the price to be worth buying and for it to be compelling. Now you can land and expand on your own, which is genuinely different to where we were yesterday. We can simplify the value proposition as well by making it clearer what customers are paying for. Previously, you had to skew your pricing artificially at the top end, knowing that only a percentage of the users were really getting any value. The user and usage-based options enable you to choose to be more straightforward and perhaps honest with your pricing and minimize the hurdles with procurement teams that push back against these unlicensed but unusing users. To me, this shows a path which offers renewed growth for both Atlassian and the ecosystem together, and I can see the opportunities that partners can embrace. However, for some existing apps, I can also see some challenges. There's always been competition in the marketplace, right from the very first apps, all those years ago. One sign of a healthy marketplace is healthy competition. Dominance from providing a great customer experience at the right value is something I think will continue to win in this ecosystem. However, there are some areas I would be mindful of. Have you found your innovation slowing as you've become accustomed to regular and reliable customer income? Watch out for someone else just swooping in with a new innovative approach. Have your prices crept up over time, maybe out of step with the market? Watch out for someone offering a cheaper alternative with enough value to attract your customer base. While these changes do give new paths for customers to evaluate value against cost, this is already possible today. People can already come in and build an app that competes with you for a lower price. It's just harder for a customer to compare per user pricing to instance-based pricing or site-based pricing. But you can compete today as you can tomorrow. Has feature creep, along with technical decisions made in the past, left you with a solution that is hard to support, long in the tooth, and constrained by legacy? Watch out for a new kid on the block that doesn't have those constrictions, offering something shiny and cool, adapting nimbly to new customer demands. While doing nothing might be a risk, you can turn it into an opportunity if you put yourself in your competitor's shoes and use that to drive you forward. Reconnect with your customer base and reevaluate if the solution you offer today is still the right solution for your customers tomorrow. If someone else could rebuild your solution cheaper and deliver enough value, why can't you? And consider disrupting yourself, either through a new product or brand or an evolution of your existing ones. You know the market, you know your customers, the Atlassian ecosystem. Really don't underestimate this advantage you have. Start planning now, because multi-instance licensing is around the corner and other licensing options are coming soon. But make sure you understand your customer by modeling your value proposition and find your future as you move forward with the evolving Atlassian ecosystem, because I truly believe there's a place for us all. All of this together should help you build future pricing models, which help you experiment with the array of possibilities that will soon be available to us. Now's the time to evaluate your apps and your business posture with it. If you have any questions, come see me, and I'm around to help, as are others. After all, aren't you an agile organization who seeks to adapt to the future? Or are you relying on the status quo for your continued success? As Heraclius said, the only constant is change. So come with the rest of us on the journey as we look forward to the opportunities that await. Anil.
Should we Questions?
So, okay.
Yeah.
We didn't rehearse this bit because we put it in 5 minutes ago. So obviously this is going to provide some questions. We thought we'd seed it with what obviously we would think they would be.
Yeah. We'll go through the...
Yes. So frequently asked questions when I tried this against some of you who've seen this before. So will billing become more complex for customers? What do you think, Anil?
So I can take it license model basis. So if you look at multi-instance licensing, it will simplify billing for enterprise customers. Every time they are trying to create a new instance or users, they don't have to worry about it. While user-based licensing and Jira JSM decoupled licensing will keep the billing experience very much similar to current models. I do feel that usage-based pricing can become slightly more complex. And to keep things simple, we are trying to start with like one usage metric, right? Based on the feedback, we may expand to multiple usage metric in future. However, if you look at user-based pricing, it may add additional complexity around managing users for limited user bases, right? But we are trying to give multiple options to admins, org admins, for managing users. For example, they can choose multiple models. One of the models is that they can have users specific for apps or group of apps, or they can also say that, okay, I want the users of these apps to be in sync with the parent product users. So all of those options will be available to them. At the end of the day, our goal is to make it simpler and provide options. Sometimes giving more options also adds a little bit of complexity, but we are trying to balance our approach.
What about, can one of the new pricing methods be tested on a subset of existing or new customers?
No, the simple answer is you can change your pricing, but not your licensing model, at least to start with. In the end state, we want to allow partners to transition across models with some time lag between it. But yeah, that will not be possible to start with.
Yeah, so once you choose the journey to go to user-based pricing or whatever it is, you're stuck on that for now. But yeah. So be sure that you want to take the journey. You can change the model as you go, but you can't go backwards from that. Will partners be able to combine pricing methods and charge customers for both users and usage?
Again, no. To start with, we will have just one usage-based metric. They can continue with either user-based per user pricing or usage-based pricing. There is also a ask, as I was talking to partners, can we use multiple usage metric? For example, can I combine number of SMSs and number of, let's say, voice calls and charge customers? Our guidance to start with is like try to determine what is your primary cost driving metric and align pricing based on that. As we add multiple metrics, things may become too complex for your customers. However, we do understand some of the apps may require this capability, and we will try to accommodate that in future. But to start with, we'll keep with just one usage metric.
Yeah. And to be clear, if I move to SMS, message, I no longer pay price per user. This is just that.
Yeah.
Finally, user-based licensing will mostly drive the cost per license up. How do you think existing customers will perceive this change?
So we understand this concern, and it's completely up to partners to decide the pricing for user-based pricing. User-based pricing for their apps and based on their app and business strategy. In all of our communications with our customers, we have informed them that the pricing is likely going to change.
Thank you. We've run a little bit short. We didn't want to put too much content in. We really wanted to hear from you. And I guess some of you got questions.